got a Florian Wirtz and we've got an Alexander Isak currently really struggling. And
it's not a quality issue what we're seeing right now, it's a systematic issue.
It worked out a bit too easily. We've been beaten twice by Palace this season.
The objective should have always been defend your title as best as you possibly can.
We've got City and Real Madrid in the same week again.
This is where Arne Slot needs to earn his big wages.
Let's beat the Manx on Sunday. Yeah, smoke them, lad.
It's my birthday, so I'll have Hello guys and welcome back to DR Sport, and today we've got a very special show. Some might call it a crisis talk, some may call it an emergency meeting, but I'm just going to call it a Reds round table.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I feel like that's the right. It's a little bit early for all the crisis talks and emergency settings. So I am joined with Doyle and AGT.
How are we,
lads?
Fella?
How are we?
Good.
So yeah, no, feeling okay.
Well rested.
Stable.
International break. It's given us an opportunity to kind of decompress, take a little bit of stock, and have a little bit of a review. So look, let's call a spade. Liverpool are currently sitting second in the Premier League table.
Yeah. Sorry, is it second?
Second, bro.
Not seventh.
Not seventh.
I know. I was going to say.
Not 17th.
This is a general meeting. Yeah. I wouldn't even say this. This is just a general Reds catch up.
How are we meeting? Yeah. How are we?
All good. That's the end of the show. But no, look, the summer happened and we broke the British transfer record twice. We've signed one of the most prolific strikers in European football. Some might say world football. But do we consider Liverpool to be stronger or weaker than what we was this point 12 months ago, lads?
I think you got to be honest, haven't you? Weaker, definitely. We don't. The team's got more talent in it.
Okay.
But it's not as cohesive, and we're obviously seeing that, right? We haven't seen really in the games that we've played a solid 90-minute performance, and I think that's off the back of the transition, right? I think we were discussing it beforehand, and we all expected this last season. But fortunately enough, we won the league. Arsenal were off it, Man City were off it. So right now, I'm just in the headspace of Slot has enough credit in this bank, mate, to make this team stronger than last season. He's got enough time to do it. We've signed him on 5-year contracts. We're weaker than last season, but we've got more potential than last season. That's why I see it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's well said. I think in 3 or 4 months you could ask us the same question and we'd all sit around here hopefully and say stronger, much stronger, fighting on all fronts. But I think when you look at, yes, obviously personnel, big changes out and in, the mental effect that's taken its toll now on Diogo's passing as well. Something that as fans we'd never experienced before, never predicted. So it's not only fans coming to terms with it, but we're nowhere near the change room. Imagine what it's like in there at the minute. But again, cohesion's a good word to sum it up with, because the ceiling is higher. Got more talented, players in every position on paper. Yeah. But as we've seen in the past, on paper doesn't bring you, real life trophies until it does. And I think this Liverpool team, if last year wasn't a transition year, which, because we won the league, it's like we almost dismissed that claim. It still was, because it was still a new manager coming in with players he'd never worked before, and we won the league. So I think it's fair to say that after 2 full transfer windows, I think it's fair to say that this season is a transition season, but it's not really what you want to hear when you're trying to go to retain the Prem and be champs again. So, like I said, still so early. We're in October, boys.
It's crazy.
October. I think November to March, that's where you get the real kind of barometer of where this team's at, and hopefully we're sitting around here in March.
We've seen Spurs and Everton at the top of the league at this point. There's nothing to worry about.
There's plenty of football to still be played. I think from my perspective, I think one of the things that I kind of touched on for what I expected Slot to be able to come in and do for us last season was his ability to, once the window shut and we'd only signed Chiesa, I was like, right, well, it's not really a squad overhaul. There's a really settled first 11 there. There's a lot of senior players. I think the average age of the team last season was about 27 years of age, just a little bit older. We've reduced that in the last 12 months. It's now sitting at about 25 years. So there's a replenishing of the squad, because obviously there's been a little bit of changing of the guard. But we pushed a City and an Arsenal team the season before till about March, nearly April.
About April. Paddy's Day. I remember Paddy's Day last year.
Consistent. We got 84 points and then won the league on 84 points. We've been consistent
for the last 2 years, and I think it wasn't necessarily a drop off, but there was a couple of players that you just thought, the legs had just fell off a little bit, just as the final hurdle, and he probably wasn't ready or primed for a title push. It came on him a little bit soon. Obviously, the Klopp situation happened, and then you fast forward 12 months, and I'm thinking, do you know what? All I really want from a slot side, or from a slot in terms of his manager abilities, is for him to get an extra 5, 10, 15% out of a few key players. Now, I think he did that across the board. I think Gakpo was one last season who's probably had his best season for us. I think moving him out to the left-hand side and kind of making sure that was where he stayed was a massive role in that. I think Gravenberch, across the board, well, football recognises exactly his talent.
None of us saw that coming.
I know we didn't, do you know what I mean? But the way that he was able to actually unlock him, unlock him and find the key to his game and get him to play forward. I thought that was brilliant. I thought in terms of across the forward line, it was probably hard to identify what a number 9 for slot really looked like, and I don't think we ever really seen anybody really nail it down for us last season. But there was enough to say, Slot's done his job. He's got enough out of those players in those moments, and it's bore fruit. It's got us the league title. Now everybody's made up. Now you kind of fast forward again, and I'm looking at it, and my thing from the perspective of this season was, what's his European medal like? Can he hold his nerve? We walked the group stages of the Champions League last year, made it look too easy almost, and then we get unstuck with PSG, and then it was okay. The other equation in all of this from a Liverpool perspective is now, how can he integrate upwards of 6 players into this team? Now they're like 6 starters that we've looked at, the summer signings. What, AGT, was your kind of making from the summer signings? Did you think it was going to be plain sailing, or did you think there's quite a lot of new ingredients in there and it might take some time? I
think at the time when they're all coming in and you're seeing these players that you've dreamed of playing for Liverpool holding the red shirt aloft, Liverpool fans and rival fans, how could, and I dare anyone to try and prove this wrong, how couldn't you get carried away? I mean, I remember sitting with KG Expressions, Robbie, they're all saying, title's done. They've just got Isak. Title's done.
It's over.
It's over. How many times did we hear that in the summer? So I don't think any rational or irrational Liverpool fan in the summer thought, this is amazing, but it's going to take them a lot of time to gel. You know, they're joining a team that's got to go and retain the... None of us thought like that. Let's all be honest and call a spade a spade. We all thought with our chests, as we would with that money spent, rightly so.
You'd have been delusional if you'd have went the other way.
Exactly.
I think at that moment in time,
and if someone did say that, you'd be like, oh, look at this guy hating.
He's trying to get clips. He's just trying to put it out there. He's just trying to be edgy, a little bit different.
Everyone thought that, and listen, it's very possible of happening, but you know, unfortunately, when you spend that amount of money, there is no patience attached to the rational thinking, at least from rival fans. From Liverpool fans, like I said, we're very calm in this moment still. You know, we've heard Klopp come out, we were talking about it this morning, saying there is no doubt about Florian Wirtz's quality, he's going to shine through. That's just one example. My thing is, yes, like you said, we haven't controlled a game really since we won the league against Tottenham in April 27th. It's a good 6 months, but what I'm thinking is, surely there is just too much quality to not eventually click. And I'm saying, yes, we're in October now. Once we go mid-January, mid-February, mid-March, and we come out the other end within touching distance, if not top of the league, then we're going to say, see, all it took was 5 or 6 months for them to gel in, and now they are. Touch wood, that happens.
And we used to see that quite often with Klopp. When he used to sign some integral players to what he wanted in his system, he bedded them in and he took his time.
Fabinho, Robertson.
Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain was another example of it. And it took 3-4 months before they got up to full speed and fully understood the expectations, the roles, the responsibilities.
Do you remember the time when we bought Robbo, and for like the first 5 games he's playing Moreno, mate? Yeah. And all the fans going, what are you doing? Yeah. And then, that way you kind of have no excuses then. You've been bed in and you've had time to understand the culture. And I still think the likes of Kirkes, the likes of Frimpong, the new revolutionary fullbacks that we got, they're still just getting up to the level of what it needs to be if you are a Liverpool first 11 player. And
let's be fair to them, they're both playing for a massive club now, do you know what I mean? No disrespect, but exactly that, it's the pressure difference.
Ball retention, all of that stuff, they've got to be much better at.
In possession of the ball now as well. They're expecting Kirkes to play in, as a bit of a ball player, where he's never been that. His game was flying up, down, and he's got that energy, he's got that stamina. But one of the big things that, we can kind of unpack here is Slot in the first season, obviously because he didn't get a war chest to utilise in that summer, there wasn't much rotation, and I think that was one of the big points in our season last year when we came after that January period and into February. We looked a little bit leggy. It felt a lot like how the start of this season felt, where we was just scraping by in games. Now he's got the opportunity, and so far already we've seen so much more rotation. What do you think's been different in terms of his planning so far, Doyle?
I think when you've got a core group of players that have been through things together, it creates a synergy and a cohesion that he's not got this season.
Okay.
So we were talking about playing a number 9 last season. He played Diaz there, right? Because he only had 11 starters really that could start. So now going into the season, he's got a million different players that could start because the quality is there. So for me, what we're seeing right now, it's a systematic issue because he doesn't quite know how to put these players in their positions to get the most out of them, which is strange because he did it last season, but I do think it's because of that. The blueprint, he's got too much.
And the blueprint was there really last season. I think a lot of the time when he spoke, it was like, I don't really need to rip it all up and start again. There's a system that's working. I just might need to do a few tweaks to the system.
And he did that, and it was stable. I remember we won so many games 2-0, 2-0, but it was great because we would ball the crap out of other teams. We'd score our goals and then set up shop, and nobody could really get a chance against us.
I thought game management, it's particularly in the second half of games last season, he felt like a genius to me in terms of he'd go in, subs, either seen what would have happened in the first 45, he'll have analysed it with his team and said, right, I know
Ipswich away, first game of the season.
Prime example.
Prime example of someone who understands we've got the quality, but there's no need to rush it. Obviously, if we need to make changes, Quansah comes off his first game, and we're thinking, wow, this guy's quite ruthless. And I think this season, it's almost been the opposite. Like, we started quite... in maybe not scoring loads of goals, but we've definitely been controlling games in the first half.
On that though, we've scored. Well, so we've scored at this point of last season and this point now, we scored the exact same amount of goals. The big difference is we've conceded an extra 7 goals.
It's game management,
and that's where defensively Liverpool look a little bit off it. So if we look right, 2024, 2025, we was 18 points at the same stage after 7 games. This season now with 15 points, so we're not.
Which is one win, isn't it? Really,
which would have been
and we beat Chelsea game as well, which we didn't do last season.
Yeah, exactly. In the first game, that was a 2-2 draw, wasn't it? I just think at this moment in time, with everything that we've kind of touched on so far, the new players that we've kind of got to bed in, there are a few question marks. I think some of them have played a little bit in different form. I'm not 100% convinced, but if you kind of had to go back in after this international break now and then kind of decide, right, going forward, there are certain players that I'm going to protect and there are certain players that I need to make sure they get fully up to speed. Where would you start with all of that, AGT?
Me and you were speaking about this earlier as well.
You cannot pick an 11.
We don't know our best 11 right now.
11, how is Slot supposed to sit there and pick his 11?
I don't know how it's going to work. Honestly, God.
I mean, there's just so many players out of form. Normally when you go through these little slumps, your main man might be misfiring and your goalkeeper might be letting a few in. But at the minute, obviously, take away Alisson from this. You know, Ibu is playing a different game at the minute and not in a good way. Obviously Frimpong and Bradley, no one's really nailed down that position yet. I mean, but we did a preview match, a lineup prediction for the United game. We've still got Robbo in there, so Kirkes hasn't really taken that on. McAllister looks well off it. Didn't have much of a pre-season at all. Joined up super late, I think, in Hong Kong. Didn't really get many minutes under his belt. He just looks really lethargic still for some reason, even though when he plays for Argentina, he's goes back to being one of the best. You've got defenders, midfielders, and strikers that are all out of form. So this is why I hold on to the quote that I've been saying to people: wait till we come good. Everyone can laugh and point fingers at Liverpool now because of the out of form players, which there are 4 or 5. We can maybe only name 2 or 3 that have actually done well this season, and the rest are indifferent. Wait till everyone starts clicking. Time will do that, but we just need to make sure on Sunday that we start off this new period of redemption, if you want to call it. We're 1 point behind Arsenal. It's a crisis. When we win, hopefully on Sunday, I think in terms of the morale boost on and off the stands, I think form-wise, players always get up for a big game like that. This could be the start of... Because remember last season in October, we had that run, didn't we? Chelsea, Real Madrid, City, blah, 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 blah. Oh, they've been lucky. They haven't played anyone good. Wait till they play. And we won them all. We literally won every game. So I think this now is another opportunity to look back at that calendar from last year. He'll go, right, look, we lost that game to Forest, and then look at that run we went on. Afterwards. Now he's going to say, right, we've lost 3 games in a row, go on that run again, I'll keep chopping and changing, and we find the right balance eventually. But when we click,
that's the point, right? For me, he needs to have a very
The whole
solid
team.
starting 11. That's what he needs right now. If we don't know, as you said, how is he going to know? He needs to get a group of core players that he trusts on the pitch.
leadership team,
Who's
which
that?
would be Alisson,
Robbo, Salah.
Yeah,
Virg,
that's why we said
Salah.
Robbo.
You're probably going to promote one of those midfielders as well. Now they've been in there for a couple of seasons. But if I was to look at, right, let's stick with the defence for a moment. And if I was to look at the right backs, I made some notes earlier, and I think agree or disagree with me on these. But I put down for Conor Bradley as a right back, and I don't want to spend too much time on the lad who left last season. But Trent gave Bradley a way of playing. He was able to look at Trent's game and say, okay, I can model myself on that because you're considered a senior player to me. So there are things in your game that I will pick up on and I will try to emulate and I'll try to replicate in my game. Yeah. I think since he's lost that, he's a little bit unsure of what type of right back he is, and now he's having to go back to the drawing board a little bit and try and rediscover some of that. So as well as he being a little bit injury prone and trying to get back up to full speed, he's been in a bit of poor form. I think when you look at Frimpong now, he's not been a right back since his Celtic days and early Bayer Leverkusen days. So for him, obviously, that hamstring injuries hampered his ability to get up to full speed. But he's just more used to being more front-footed and just bombing it down the wings.
As is Kirkes.
As is Kirkes. But then you've got Szoboszlai now, who's come in now. One of the things that Frimpong that I did touch on was the Atletico Madrid game. I thought Salah was more involved in that game in terms of actually in-game play, in terms of linking up play, getting on the ball, creating things. I thought that was probably one of his better games. Now, it's no surprise that Frimpong starts that game and he's done the overlap. Yeah. Whereas when Szoboszlai, as good as he has been defensively in terms of his defensive responsibilities, marking the back post, 1v1 in challenges, he wants to invert. He wants to do a little bit of what
naturally.
That's he's so used to that slot system for Feyenoord. He put Gertrude as a inverted right back. Okay. That's why he's doing it, and that's why I keep saying it's a systematic thing, because there's not one system.
That doesn't. Yeah, it's not. It's definitely
it's
not.
Like he keeps changing it. So then Salah's like, well, do I make a run here? What am I doing in this game?
Salah doesn't use the overlap all the time as well, does he?
But I do agree with you. I think also Conor Bradley has a slightly different edge to his game, where he was up and down a lot more than Trent, whereas Trent would invert. So I think Dom is more of the Trent replacement, which shouldn't be the case because he's a midfielder, and Connor's there to do the overlapping. But now we've got two overlapping fullbacks. I just don't know quite what we're playing.
Who would you go with? Who would be your one for the time? Connor.
It depends in the game. It depends what game it is. If it's United, I'd go for Connor. Yeah. If it was Frankfurt away on Wednesday night, I'd probably go for Frimy.
I get that. He's more attacking, right? Yeah. And there's more space in Champions League games traditionally because you want to go and win them, don't you? So people open up a little bit more.
But listen, there's no denying the fact that the creativity that number 66 brought to Liverpool was out of this world for right back. We're talking about right backs and how they would open up a game in a click of a fingers. Trent could do that for you.
This is why
we're just going to have to find different way of being creative now. That's why we've got Wirtz, who is one of the most creative players in Europe. So we're trying to get the ball as early as we can to him so he can do his magic. But let's be honest, in the last 5 seasons, a lot of the time, Ibu gives it to Trent. Trent's looking instantly for the ball over the top for Salah, or the ball through like against Arsenal when we got the equaliser last year. Or he's looking for the big switch over to Luis Diaz.
Well, that was another one.
One thing I don't like about this season is how little we've seen like big switches.
Well, that I was about to say, the out ball at this moment in time is massively restricted, because last season that was our get out of jail free card. We'd suck up a little bit of pressure, we'd absorb it, and it was either Virg or move over.
I would like to see Conor Bradley. I know maybe it's not his game, and I'm not saying go and be Trent, because you can't. He's better than Trent in a lot of other departments, but in terms of like, you know, if Conor Bradley's on the halfway line and we sweep it out to him, is there that one touch where, okay, I can try and float in it? Because we know technically, we've seen him score free kicks and stuff for Northern Ireland. Technically speaking, Conor Bradley's an excellent footballer. Yeah. But I would just like to see a bit more expansive football from him in terms of taking that risk. And look, if it doesn't work out, no problem. But I would like to see a little bit more risk taking from Conor.
He has to take responsibility for it, because Ibu is not able to do it. Now Ibu has almost been asked to play a game that he hasn't necessarily played before. He always had Virgil to his left and Trent to his right, where he could be the front front-footed defender and win the ball back, give it to Trent, and Trent will find the out ball. And that's why Ibu's game is suffering this time round, in my opinion, because he's not able to do that first-time punch. He can't get it through the lines. That's not his game. It never has been. That's Virgil. He's the one that's calm and composed and finding space. Konate is the front-footed, aggressive, I'll win the ball defender. And I think, I don't know how we're going to find that creativity unless we go through the middle with Wirtz, and that's not quite working out right now. So I think it does have to go on the fullbacks taking responsibility.
We are struggling to get the ball punching the ball into the final third at the moment. I think I seen a stat as well the other day saying about Szoboszlai when he started in the 10 at Palace, he only was able to find Salah in the full 90 twice. And he's in the 10, Salah's only over there to his right, you know what I mean, kind of distances, and he's only able to find him with the ball twice in the course of a game. So there is a lot of problems.
And that's the other thing, sorry to interrupt you, but someone like Oliver Glasner, and this is what Liverpool have to be wary of, and also on the flip side of it, this is what Arne Slot needs to earn his money for. We're getting worked out a bit too easily. We've been beaten twice by Palace this season, and it's kind of been fairly easy for them, especially in that first half. I mean, we were poor. We went to the Community Shield game.
It was the worst.
We scored a couple nice goals, but actually, like on the ball, they were better than us. So they're saying, well, if we block off Szoboszlai's almost creativity, because we know he can. Again, this is why we're giving him credit this season, because he has been the one to look up and whip a ball in. Look at the goal against Chelsea the other day. It was him really that got us going. And if you block him and stop his kind of mini network, then you stop Salah. If you stop the ball into Wirtz, which a lot of teams have been so aggressive to just smash him either from behind and just nick the ball off of him, or just double man up on him. If we can get the ball to Wirtz more and he's got a little bit more space, it was just a different kind of creativity than we're used to. But this is where Arne Slot needs to earn his big wages, because you're the head coach. Coach these lads into a new system and let's get them gelling.
He's almost like a traditional manager, in my opinion, where he likes to go all the way through the middle with triangles, passing, controlling the ball. Whereas Klopp was the exact opposite of that. He had an unorthodox approach, which was at the pincers. He'd go round the sides where there's more space and less congestion, and we had so much joy from that because we had beautiful passes of the ball in Robbo and Trent. And right now, it just seems like we lose the ball so much in midfield. I'm like, someone get it out of there, someone get it out of here, and it's just not working. We've got no one-on-one players either at the moment, which is frustrating.
Really,
and Wirtz is supposed to be that fella for us.
Well, this is what I was going to say. So before we move into look at some of the positives from a Liverpool perspective and some of the things that we've got on our side, time being one of the biggest ones. I think a lot of people have kind of lost their heads over the last week, and maybe it's just an online thing, I'm not sure. Up in Liverpool, most people have been pretty sound, I'll be honest, and they've been a little bit more, do you know what, Salah, it'll be what it'll be. It'll all work out.
Well, you say that. I was in the gym yesterday, shout out Nuffield in Brunswick. One lad come up to me and was like, what are we going to do? And I was like, what do you mean? Where are we? I said, where are we in the table again? And he went, we're second. And I went, okay, then we've got a lot of time, don't we? So people are losing their heads, but I think at some point sooner rather than later we do need to see, and we're seeing it from Hugo. Hugo's been great apart from the Southampton.
I
love the look of him. But listen, Alexander Isak, we need some goals, bro.
Well, we're going to get to the elephant in the room. So we've spoken about, some of the defensive issues. We've touched on, where it might not be working right now for us in midfield. Let's talk about the big money signing. Then we've got a Florian Wirtz and we've got an Alexander Isak at this moment in time that are currently really struggling. And now the external noise, I'm not too arsed about it, if I'm completely honest with you, because
that'll always be there, whatever.
I think a lot of level-headed football fans across the board have all said, like, there's too much talent for them not to come good. I think in my head, where I've been at with it is, like, how far off the pace could Liverpool potentially be before that moment clicks? And at that point, do we have to look at, like, maybe the Champions League and say, you know what, that's actually probably where we should be putting all of our eggs into our basket? But what do you think is stopping Slot from being able to unlock, not so much Alexander Isak, because I know he's had a late start to the season in terms of obviously the transfer saga and all the rest of it.
But how long does that kind of excuse wash for now?
So it's this period now. I think I seen something the other day saying it will be about the next 3 to 5 weeks before he's up to full speed. But what is it that we could be doing for Wirtz first to then get and does it need to be a change of system? Does somebody need to drop out of it? Because, and I was listening to another Liverpool podcast the other day, and it was Distance Covered. He made
Josh.
Josh, he made a brilliant point on that, essentially saying that when Frank Lampard got binned from Chelsea, obviously Thomas Tuchel comes in and he had a lot of players in the mix. So I think he had the likes of Ziyech, Havertz, Werner, Pulisic, Hudson-Odoi and Mason Mount. And he was trying to figure out the best way to get all of those players into that system. And unfortunately, there was a casualty in all of that. And it was Kai Havertz for a long period until the back end of the Champions League run before he was really trusted in that social system. And I'm just wondering, are we at a point where we have to look at it and think, if we still really want to have serious title credentials this season, will there be not necessarily a casualty, but will somebody have to make way, and will we have to try and change that look of that front three that we've relied on for years now? Will that makeup have to change?
It's not going to be Salah, is it? He won't drop Salah.
There has to be one. You can't get the best out of these players by shoehorning them into 11.
Who would be?
You have to rotate.
Who's the casualty?
That's the only way.
Who's the casualty at this moment, based on form and based on where we currently are?
And who's going to come in to replace him?
I'm not saying who it should be like.
No, say it. We're having an honest conversation. Have an honest conversation.
I know what you're going to say, but I don't think he wants to say it.
I can't, lad, because he's just the best player that's ever played for us, lad. Right?
I thought you were going to say something else.
Right, Mo Salah for me. I can never put disrespect on that man's name. What a phenomenal human being and footballer player for us. But his form this season, to be fair, has not been great. He's had his worst start to a Premier League season. He's got Freddie there, Freddie Church, Freddie Kaiser. That's been playing well. Had a few good games. Every time he's come on, he's had an impact. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with taking Salah off for 30 minutes in a game. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
But in a Premier League game, would you not start Salah?
I know, because he's a moments player as well, right? So even when he's not having a great game, you're like, oh, you've got to leave him on because he can just turn it on at some point. So that's why it's like, it's really double-edged sword. Like, what do you do with Salah? Because he's not having a great start and he's not playing very well.
You've also bought in the likes of a Florian Wirtz and an Alexander Isak to be a succession. Yeah. That's the next stage. So I know he probably wasn't expecting to have to start phasing Salah out this early, and I'm not saying or suggesting at any point he needs to be phased out in the starting 11. But from a Salah's perspective at this moment in time, do you protect him? Because I think out of all of the players, I know we touched on obviously the incident that happened in the summer, rest in peace Diogo Jota. Out of all of the players in his teammates, you see in that Bournemouth game after he scores that goal, you see the emotion that
Salah was crying.
He's crying, he's in tears, so he is visibly still reeling in a lot of grief for the situation that's happened. Is there a case to say, do you know what, at this moment in time, you don't, it'd be great if somebody else was firing and say, right, we've got somebody else to lean on. Without Salah's goals for us last season, lads, we wouldn't have won the league. We wouldn't have won the league. The table looks completely different. Yeah. So we have to remember that. But out of the Hugo, Isak and Wirtz, how do we fit all three of them in enough, getting them enough minutes in order to take that weight? Because I thought that was always the point with getting them this season. It lightens the load that Salah's meant to do. Even if Salah has to be a moments player, he can be a moments player because we're going to have other players that are going to be in the game and are going to be integral to the system.
If you play them two, Hugo and Hugo and Isak up front, which I think in a dream situation, we would love to at least see it tested. Then and then if you go to a 4-4-2 in that way, obviously you can do like, 3-5-1-2s, or you can do some. But for me, a 4-4-2 to get them both in, and then it's Salah and Gakpo on the left. But then someone's got to miss out in midfield there.
This is why
you can't drop Ryan, and you can't drop Dom.
You can't drop Dom. I think this is why he's playing Dom on the right, because it's almost like he's trying to build in the midfield, right? So he's trying to congest this middle part, and then the left winger and the striker can go into, or the right winger and the striker can go into the middle and receive the ball. But it's just not quite working out. I don't know what we need to do, to be quite honest with you. I can't figure out a system that works best for all of these players. I really can't. You just can't tell me one, can you?
At this moment in time, no.
It's really
but we can sit there with a tactics board and say what we think would work. But actually, to actually do it is.
I want to. Do you know what we do want to see, which I haven't seen this season? Hugo and Isak together. I have not seen that at all.
See if they've got a little bit of link up. And I think that was one of the things that Isak was able to benefit off last season, when he had somebody close to him, even if it was those inverted wingers from Newcastle, getting close to him to kind of play off and get that link up play was massive in terms of getting the best out of him. If we look at some of the positives then, lads, because it's we've sat here.
Can I ask you a question though, just before we get on to the positives? Would you take? So let me try and get this right, because the balance has got to be so good for all of these strikers to one, be happy, two, get enough minutes, three, scoring goals, winning trophies and whatnot. Would you sacrifice the balance? And what does that mean? It could mean that Ekitike is fuming by the end of the season, wants to leave, hasn't played enough. Would you sacrifice some turbulence to win the league this season? But pretty bad turbulence.
No. I would, because I feel like it's another iteration of Klopp 2.0. This now with the additions of what Slot's brought in. From my perspective, it's the objective should have always been defend your title as best as you possibly can and make sure that nobody runs away with it in the way that we won it last season. But we should be looking at other trophies as well, and we should be trying to build a squad capable to compete on all four fronts with the firepower that we've got.
I think I'd sacrifice it to win another league.
You need to have 16 players or something around that. 17, 18 players that can all start. And I don't think you leave somebody out, because Liverpool play 1 million games in all of the trophies, so there is no leaving anybody out. Everybody gets a turn if you've got quality.
Do you think Ekitike could do a shift on the left?
Yes, definitely. Defo, he's got
because
the legs.
I think Gakpo, I think there's a competition there, or there's a conversation to be had really, whether Gakpo and his games are not too similar, but I think Ekitike's got enough about him where he could emulate exactly what Gakpo's doing.
He's a better one-on-one player in my opinion.
And that was the other thing.
And I think Diaz and Gakpo, you got the best out of them both last season when they had direct competition between each other, and they were different wingers. Right now we don't have any wingers. We've got Salah and Gakpo, who is just about a winger in my opinion, because he's not that one-on-one. Like Diaz is an out-and-out winger. You wouldn't put him anywhere else because it wouldn't be the point of it, right? So I think we need to put Hugo on that left and see what he does there.
I mean, we were spoiled. If you think about it, last season they both got 18 goals each in all comps. That is
brilliant.
I'd actually commend them both and say the professionalism here
to balance
in terms of like you're both happy, you're both getting minutes, and you're both exactly the same level. That's how competition should be every single year. If someone's got 30 goals and you've got 8, it's not great competition, is it? But if you're both pecking away on 18 each, that's like you've both been very professional. You've got your heads down. You never once complained. You do what you're told to do. But obviously, the emergence of Rio this year is something that we've taken very seriously as well.
Well, there we go. There's you've started
a positive.
You've started us nicely on a positive there. Rio and Gamoa has been an exceptional addition to this Liverpool squad so far this season for such a young lad. The talent that he's got in abundance is ridiculous, lads. What other, we sit here, as I say, seven games played so far. Bear in mind, we're only a couple points away from Arsenal and what they've done. Defensively not looked great. Attacking, still scoring goals and still finding ways to score goals. Quite a lot of goals from open play as well.
9 of them in the Premier League.
Yeah,
more than Arsenal.
We should have so many more goals than we've got there.
What would be some of the standout positives so far to kind of hammer home to some Liverpool fans that'll be watching this? What are the positives that you've spotted?
I think just the overall kind of team morale after winning that many games so late, surely it can do nothing but positive things. Yeah. If you win games 90th minute, 94th, 90 plus 10, 89th, surely you get round each other and say, well done, we got it over the line. That's not going to go, morale isn't going to go down after that. It can only go up. I think also again, I'll say the word professionalism of Freddie Chiesa, who was so kind of resigned to leaving in the summer. There was always someone that was going to come in and take him away from us, but we got a couple of moments. Again, the professionalism, that's any pro footballer watching who isn't in a team who's waiting their chance. Look at Federico Chiesa. Yes, he's had loads of injuries, but that kind of attitude, that mindset is why he's still at Liverpool and why he is now a Liverpool cult hero, because he never kind of says no or lets the game die. There's been, I think all the wins have individual pockets of really positive stuff, but unfortunately all of the wins do have a lot of negative things in there as well, like the conceding of the goals.
Yeah, we've given up here 2-goal leads. You said before,
was it 3 or 4 times?
And everything was calm. We shut up shop.
Have we done that 3 or 4 times?
Yeah, so
did it against Everton even, didn't we? Last
Palace, Everton, we almost did it.
Atletico,
Bournemouth, Atletico Madrid.
Yeah.
4 times.
And Newcastle, we were ahead as well.
Yeah, it was. Doyle, what would you consider to be some of the positives? It could be a player, it could be a particular match or anything. Go on.
I think Alisson's still the best goalkeeper in the world. He's proved it. We've been under the cosh, and he was unbelievable in that Crystal Palace game. Like, genuinely, I was like, what am I watching? This man shouldn't be this good. He's this age. Wow. For me, I still think Virgil is really right at that top level. I know rival fans are saying he twerks and does all this orders defending and all that. Yeah. But I still think he's excellent. He really is, and he's still got it. And I think he's worried about him.
I think he's having to do a lot of heavy lifting, considering how unsettled that back line is at the moment. He's unfortunately
won the game for us against Atletico as well with the header. Exactly. And I also think Dominic Szoboszlai and Ryan Gravenberch are another level up, even from last season. I'm seeing a Gravenberch and I'm just like, wow, what a Rolls Royce of a footballer.
Was it
He's so
Atletico
excellent.
when he just bops Llorente off?
Yeah,
the,
and then he played against
it was a
Burnley where
different
he's
player.
lifting it over players' heads.
Oh, that
and
was a joke.
The turns that he's got on a transition. I haven't seen a player quite like that on the half turn for a long time, and he looks like he's got something special, that boy does. Dom Szoboszlai is becoming a utility player that looks like he can play anywhere because of the type of footballer
And
that he
at
is.
such a high level, though.
Brilliant,
as well.
though, lad.
The level that he's putting
right
that in,
back, and he's the best player in it. It's like, what the
You
hell?
know, Szoboszlai is one of the best footballers in our squad.
Definitely super
Yeah,
talented,
yeah.
lad.
In terms of like on the ball footballers,
physically,
technique,
technically, everything, lad. He's excellent.
energy, he's one of
He's
our best
passionate
players.
as well.
But
He
I think
wants
he
to get
started
in.
to believe in himself a little bit more. I think
Yeah.
at times last season, the season before, he was kind of all.
Just want him
like-
to shoot more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know he's just
And he
scored that
should,
free
and he
kick,
bloody
but
should.
the amount of times where he looks like he's pulling the trigger and then he'll pass it off and then we get done on the counter attack. Yeah, I'd like him to score more
I
goals.
think my last positive would be we've probably got the most talented squad in the league. It's exceptional, the amount of wonderful potential we have there. It's only a matter of time before Slot works out how to use these players, and we are watching some beautifully controlled, wonderful football. That's a positive that I know is going to happen. There is too much potential in this team.
For it to go to waste.
It can't.
Do you think Arsenal are the favourites?
Yes, I'm not going to sit here and lie and be like, I'm not worried about Arsenal. They have the most stable team. They've been through the most together at the moment. They are looking good, stable, best defence in the league, all of that.
They don't know how to win. And I was thinking this the other day,
That's what it comes
another
down
type of
to.
show. What we've been league leaders and been able to get it over the line. When we've had to chase City, we've struggled, but we've been able to take it to the last day for whatever good that
97
is.
points though, 94 and
which
92.
is massive. Arsenal have been leaders and dropped the ball, fell away. They've had to chase Liverpool and didn't really put up enough of a fight to get close to really put the pressure on Liverpool. So I don't know what Arsenal will do when they get to that point of with 10 games to go and we've got either Liverpool, City, somebody breathing down our necks, or they've got 3-4 points on us and we need to try and close that gap. If we look towards our next 5 games, we've got, or to be fair, actually, my positive would be the run of games that we've had so far. I don't think we've had it easy.
Bournemouth, we've played, is it 4 or 5 of the top 7 now?
7 already, yeah.
It's mad. And like Arsenal was saying, they've had the toughest run, and I was like, you know, on paper it looks like you've had the toughest run, but in reality, on form we just played a Crystal Palace team that hadn't lost in 17 games or something mad. They were brilliant. So I know Bournemouth as well, exceptional football
Doing
team.
really
Semenyo's
well.
on fire at the moment. We're playing Atletico Madrid, who are notoriously difficult to break down. They're not being great in the
We're
league.
lucky
but
they
they're
didn't have
difficult.
Alvarez that night, though.
I know, yeah.
He's
Very lucky.
a game changer there. But again, I think that is got to be taken
Even
as a positive.
Burnley, lad?
The level, because Burnley never going to roll over. They're
They
always
conceded
going to
16 goals last season, and the only
ridiculous.
team that
First defeat
lose
at
at
home
home.
for a year, though.
Yeah.
They were insane. They only
But we
lost
deserved
twice.
to win that game.
But no, we did, but I think this, and again, obviously the likes of Everton's never, even we sit
No matter
there,
what, yeah.
The best Everton team in ages, this lad.
Exactly.
Really? Got Jack Grealish.
Everton, aren't we?
Everton, aren't we?
I look at that and think I actually take, even though we haven't won in convincing fashion, I actually take quite a lot away from actually the games that we've had to play and the adversity we've had to get through. Now, obviously, the last week we get sucker punched. Palace. Fair play to Palace. By the way, I think Palace were.
Well, they deserved to win
That was
that
the one
game,
that
for
we
sure.
deserved to lose.
Galatasaray, again, it felt like a bit of a.
That wasn't a pen.
I don't think that was a pen, but at the same time, once
We
it
weren't
happens,
good.
you've got to start to. Sometimes last season where we'd concede and be like, right, we wake up now. It just looked like we was just slow walking into a defeat. And then obviously the Chelsea game, the last game before the international break. Our next 5 games, you've got United, Brentford. This is Prem, by the way. United, Brentford, Villa, City, and Forest. Now in between them, we've got United. It would be Frankfurt, Brentford, Palace, and then Villa. Obviously Palace being in the League Cup game. Out of those next 5.
This is a massive test.
Is this now where we're going to see what Liverpool's season is going to turn into in the next 5?
Look, there's no excuse for that ground not to be absolutely bouncing on Sunday.
Yeah, I agree.
So you'd like to think with the quality, with the fact that we've not actually played a game at home since the derby or the Southampton game maybe, which is 2 or 3 weeks ago, get everyone back in. That's the morale booster and the momentum builder to say go and win these 5. Brentford away.
Resurrect our season.
I mean, look, City only recently just won there, only 1-0. They've beaten United. They've drawn to Chelsea. I've been at the last 2 away games at Brentford, and it's been 2 of the best away games ever I've been
Difficult
to.
games though.
Very horrible games.
Yeah,
Like we
yeah.
won 1-4-1, but again, there was times when
Moments.
they
It didn't
were
look like
pressuring us.
Tommy
one
Frank
game.
was there though. Thomas Frank is.
And then obviously last season the Nunes one
Nunes
was
madness.
mind blowing,
Mad.
right?
Lost
So
me.
Brentford,
On that one, lad.
and I'm looking at Brentford's away. Villa is at home.
Villa's at home, yeah.
City's
going to be a tough one, whether they're home or away. But I think we're at home for City first.
Haaland's
and then I think we're away to Forest.
It might be away, actually, that City
How many
game.
points are we taking from them games, love?
I'm aiming for 15, but if you give me 12, I'd take that as well.
So there's a loss in there.
Or 3 draws.
Or 3.
No, I wouldn't. I feel like the 3 draws would be absolutely killing for us at this moment.
Beat United, go and beat Brentford. Beat Villa.
Because Villa haven't been great so far this season. I think we can afford to draw to City, and I think we've got to right the wrongs of last season with Forest. And I think obviously Forest are a much changed team now. Obviously we don't even know if they'll still have Anjin by the time we play them in the middle of November at some point. But when I look at that, I'm thinking Forest, it's got to be a win. At the moment of recording...
Where is the City game? Let's check it. So I'm pretty sure it might be away.
At the time of recording, I could take a draw with City given the current form we're in. That might change nearer to the time. I need to beat Villa, Brentford and United. They need to be 9 points plus I'm looking between 30.
It is away. It's away, the City game,
Okay, so City's on away game as well.
I'll accept a draw at the away fixture. No, I mean, it's that bad to say, but I will.
At this point in time,
Arsenal just threw to the Midfield
and we're celebrating.
Yeah,
why not?
Did the double
I'll take 4
last
draw
year
as well. I know, and it was excellent.
2-0 in both games.
We beat Real Madrid and City in the same week, and it was just glorious. It was so good.
There was a time when the slot scoreline was
we've got that again, by the way. Do you know that, lads? We've got City and Real Madrid in the same week again.
Isn't
that boss?
In terms of the next 5 fixtures then, and then that'll take us into like the middle of November, coming into December, the Christmas period. What does success look like for you now at this point in the season, lads? And I know one of the other positives is so much time and so much football to still play, but what does that success look like?
Points.
Being top
points
of the
on
league.
the board. Yeah. Points on the board. We've not been performing very well, but continue to pick up points if you can. That's what we need to do.
That's the sign of champions, isn't it? That's what everyone says.
Stay close to the pack. Do not let this pack disappear, because as you said about Arsenal, when it comes to April, March, May, whatever, they might struggle with the mentality. It's traditional. Every time they've had a moment when they've had to deliver, they've flapped. So let's see how much pressure we can put on them. If we're ahead ourselves, just get points on the board. Points on the board, lads. Until we find ourselves.
What kind of period are we going up till for this?
The question's up until around Christmas time. What does that look like between now and then? For me, if I was to set my stall out, I'd be saying I'd want automatic qualification in that Champions League group. So being those top 8 teams, by hook and crook, get it sorted.
Less games
that we have to look at in January. Obviously, we know Salah's situation come the AFCON, come January as well. So that hopefully helps take care of that period. And as Doyle said then, just be within touching distance. I don't care whether we're 3 to 5 points ahead, or we're 3 to 5 points behind,
2 to 4 behind.
But be there within touching distance. Obviously,
go into the new year with a weekend that can change the whole table. Go into the start of 2026, and if you are 2 points behind, but you win your first game and they lose, if you start going 6 to 8 to 9 to 11 points behind, even if it is Arsenal and we know that they can't get it over the line, even if it is them, I think you're just biting off a little bit more than you can chew.
Don't make it easy for them at all. That's what we can't do.
Make it as difficult as possible.
And we took our foot off the gas as well because of it. As soon as we got across the line.
Mate, we were in Dubai and IB for getting pissed up.
Just don't let them
for a
do
month.
Because what the point is, right, we're saying when Liverpool click, they're going to be looking at that saying, right, when Liverpool click, what we need to do is get a big massive gap before they do, because it's inevitable that's going to happen. Same with City, they will click as well. So they need to build a big massive gap, and we've got to stop them from doing that.
Okay. And then finally, if we've spoken on what Slot needs to do systematically to try and get the best out of some players, we've spoken about what the team needs to do to stay on track. What is it that us as fans need to do between now?
Scream your head off. Like, honestly, lad.
Is it just
don't be entitled is what the thing is, right? I want to win every single game. I want Liverpool to win every single football game that they play, even if it's a friendly, lad. I don't care. I want them to win. But I'm also aware that we've just spent loads of money. We're bedding in loads of players. We've just won the league. We've had it all over the last 10 years. Let's support the team in a moment when they actually need it, instead of just being there for the good times, right? It's okay to be critical. It's okay to say this isn't working. We're fans and we have a right to do that. But let's support them regardless. Otherwise, how are we going to get the best out of them? You don't get the best out of players by going, you're crap, lad. You get the best out of them by saying, pick yourself back up and go again, brother. That's how you do it. That's for me.
And we've seen time and time again the mental resilience.
We're scousers, lad. That's what we do. We get back up and fight again.
The resilience that these players have had, the resilience of the fans, everybody involved in Liverpool has been massive over the years and got us through some big moments where you thought the odds are stacked against them to do anything, and all of a sudden we're there lifting big ears and all the rest of it.
We're just as important as them players.
And that's my point. What is it for you, AGT, where you think if you could be in the ear of every fan when they're in the ground and just trying to give them that little bit of a motivational pep talk, what would be the words of wisdom?
The ones in the ground know what it is, but I think you see these kind of online fans who just lose their head after a draw, a defeat. In my opinion, it should be the rights of other fans to call those fans out and say, how are you not supporting this team right now? Bill Shankly said it the best: if you can't support us when we're losing,
don't come.
You don't really deserve to be there claiming all the
glory,
the praise when it's going really well. The key word is support, right? We're all Liverpool supporters. Support the team. Of course we can criticise. Of course we can put a magnifying glass over certain decisions and criticise them. But at the end of the day, like you said at the start of the show, right? The amount of credit that all of these lads and the manager has in the bank definitely, without question, deserves your unequivocal support this season at least.
This season for me, I always said they're just going to get a pass. Obviously, I'm not looking to try and be sitting in a relegation battle, but within the realms of realism of where we should be, given, even if there was a slight dip, it's enough for me to feel confident and passionate to be able to support them, because they're going to be highs and there are going to be lows, like most seasons. I think from my perspective, when I look at it from a fan's perspective, it all boils down to the expectations and maybe just kind of being able to just check ourselves a little bit, because rightfully the summer gave us, again, when we won it last time, we didn't necessarily break the bank and everyone was chatting, FSG haven't done X, Y and Z and moment to capitalise. They've listened and they have now. So all those people, exactly, you got what you
They've
asked for.
They've gone quiet though, the FSG outers,
but
you don't see them no
they've
more.
switched the narrative to more towards Slot and how Slot's, naive and
just won the league, lad.
Exactly. So my thing is, maybe we just need to, we've got what we asked for, they went and spent the money, maybe now we just need to let time take care of itself and just readjust our expectations on this team and understand that this team we didn't buy Volume Verts. As much as we bought him to be a baller and we want him to ball out this season, we bought him to put him on a long ass contract, which means he's going to get progressively better, hopefully year on year. He's still only 22. Isaac only 26, 27, whatever it is. These lads now have got time on their side to become the next Liverpool legends.
If you can nick a few titles whilst you're still gelling, then
even better. Even better.
But look, I still think across the 38 game season this season, Liverpool still win the league. I haven't swerved away from that.
He's got ultimate confidence, and I agree. But I most importantly, I've watched PSG be absolutely diabolical last season until January. And then he won the league
and won everything.
He won the Champions League. So why can't Liverpool do that? We've got the talent the same way they do. I'm not worried. I'm not sitting here being like, low as us or whatever. Genuinely, we're gonna be alright. As you said, 5-year plans. He's 22. He's only going to get better and better and better. Same with Isaac, same with all the lads.
Hopefully we're going to play 60, 65, maybe even touch a little 70 games this season.
Wow,
and yes, there is going to be times, and we're in the times right now, where you get very frustrated, you get pessimistic, but there's always a kind of a bigger plan with Liverpool. Yes, we might lose against Galatasaray, but we still plan to win the Champions League. We might lose to Palace, but we still plan to win the Premier League. So again, we can have this conversation April, May, when we know what it is, and we can really go back and say, well, this hasn't worked in this season. We're going to have to build again. Arsenal have won it. City have won it. We're going to have to go again next year. But right now, as things stand, there's no need to worry. Everyone just chill out and get behind the team.
That's it.
And that's what we all need to do right now. Because we're doing it, but everyone else needs to do it as well.
I mean, I'm sure there's lots of people. It's just, I think when you look online, right, the most polarising opinions are the ones that are there for view, right? Yeah. That's the point of algorithms and media. That's supposed to be like that. You're supposed to be going,
shot
Like,
factor,
that's the whole
rage
point.
baited
So
into
it's
all
a
of
very
these.
small fraction of it, and it might not even be Liverpool fans. Honestly, rival fans, imagine.
Bro, I don't even think it's rival fans anymore. I'm at a point where I think off the internet dead anyway. I think it's bots. I think bots sense. I genuinely think bots sense that there's been a bit of a downturn.
Do
It's
a few
like
anti-slot
ChatGPT is
tweets.
like,
right now, let's just mold the album, and it's Liverpool
They've just
fans.
got a list of scapegoats. Right, we'll use him this week.
And they just go for it, and all of a sudden you just pick up that much momentum that actual fans get drawn and sucked into that kind of vector of negativity. But I know we haven't done that, and I think it's been quite a therapeutic chat in terms of kind of getting out there in the open.
It's very easy to walk away when things aren't working well. But it's very, very rewarding if you stay there and work through the problems and then get the reward at the end of the season.
That's what makes winning better. That's the whole point of winning.
There
when
will
you
be
don't
ups
think
and
you're going to,
downs.
and you just do it, lad, anyway, and everyone else is flapping around you. I love it. That's what we Liverpool have always done.
There's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be more losses. There will be. You know, we need to prepare for that as well. We will lose more than we did last season.
Angry. If you're
but
an
as long
Arsenal
as
fan,
we, at the end of the season, have a few medals round our neck, or at least 2.
Imagine
We're
other fans
laughing.
watching this. Looking,
you spoiled brats.
It's not even about beers, but it's just like this
Leighton
is the
Orient
crisis,
fans
innit?
going, look, they think they're in trouble. I don't think we are, so I apologise if you think that.
And
but
if
we're
you was
not in trouble.
expecting to watch this show and see us all having a meltdown, pulling our hair out, I'm sorry to disappoint
And I
you.
hope you watched right up until the end as well.
Yeah. But the reality is, look, Liverpool are 1 point, is it, off Arsenal at the top of the league. We're sitting second. We've still got the best part of 6 Champions League games to play in order to get that automatic qualification. We've got one of the best strikers in Europe still ready to turn up. Got one of the highest prospect midfielders in Florian Wirtz there, again, waiting to turn up.
And
It's
we could
only
get
a
a
matter of
defender in
time.
January as well.
Well, yeah.
Hey, please come, lad.
Massive.
Please come.
Massive.
We'll have played him 3 times. If he does come in January, we'll have played against him.
He's auditioned really well. He's
Yeah.
auditioned really well.
A bit too well. Actually, don't be that good, mate. Come on.
Excellent.
But yeah, for us, for now anyway, we'll probably be back to open up this book again at some point.
Yeah, definitely.
And we'll see how we're getting on as the season unfolds.
Do you think you'd like to do it in again?
Do this conversation. I will. To be fair, before the end of the next 5, I want to see us in the thick of that run. I want to see how we're getting on and kind of reassess things and see if what we've expected can still be a possibility. I'm expecting, as I said before, by the end of those 5, we are still within touching distance. And as I say, the Champions League is starting to take shape for us.
Yeah.
So all being well, the next conversation, we're kind of looking at January and how January can be. I know, yeah. 009 on there as well. Sorry, I just had to make a quick note of
Cross out. That's bad energy.
Bad juju. But yeah, hopefully we'll have that conversation.
Do this again in March, and trust me, this whole... I mean, we're not
no,
even
we'll do
down
before that.
before
Like,
that.
we've done well before
No,
that.
I know, but
look
by
at,
the
like,
time we are in March, we
December, we
go,
do this again.
hey, do you remember when we was chatting about this in October? Look how
review it
well
and-
that's gone now.
December, I
and
think.
look into December and look and say, right, well, how do we now go and clinch it? Is it the signings in January that are going to get it over the line for Liverpool? That'll be
Before
the
and
interesting
after
conversation.
December's
transfer
always
window's
like
a good one.
December's super congested with fixtures, right? It's the
Massively.
Christmas period, so I think if we get it's a December in a healthy position, that's when we reassess again as fans and just talk about it and see what
Every
we can do
2
for December.
months, really, we should be doing
I agree,
one of
yeah.
these.
About that because there's so many games in between.
Yeah.
Like it really,
Things
if
can
the
change
season go
every week.
up and down, yeah.
Absolutely.
We just best beat the Manx on Sunday. Yeah, smoke them, la.
It's my birthday, so I'll be
lad.
You're going to have a great birthday.
I am, yeah. I'm putting it out there.
No.
Happy birthday, sir.
You are going to
have
have a great birthday.
Yeah, yeah.
100%.
Bert and Isaac are just going to come on and take over, lad.
Oh, Hugo
Copism.
there. Right, well, guys, that's it from us this afternoon. But make sure you are liking and subscribing to DR Sports on the channel. And we will be back with another one of these roundtables.
Well done,
I enjoyed
mate.
it. But
Yeah,
Excellent.
excellent.
Brilliant.
Lad.
it was a pleasure. Absolutely enjoyed it. And we'll be back in the next one, so stay tuned.
Welcome along,
That is
weekend
unbelievable.
roundup. Oh my days, we're in for a great show
If
today.
we got through PSV, do you think there's any chance?
No,
that we
no,
Hang on.
Catch us every Monday for the weekend roundup.